So not too long ago, I got this. This is the PR-2 from Deity. It's a little pocket recorder. And I just wanted to share some of the things that I really like about it. I'm gonna show you 4 things that I really like about this and why I think it's worth having in your kit. And thought I'd do this outside because, well, my wife is on a really important call for work and didn't want to ask her to leave the office so I could film a YouTube video. And it's super nice out, except it's kind of windy, so hopefully the audio doesn't get too messed up with the wind, which would be kind of ironic if the audio is messed up on a video talking about audio. So anyways, there's irony for you. All right, now for me, probably the first thing that stands out to me is the built-in timecode generator. If you have watched this channel, if you've seen any of my other videos on the subject of timecode, you know how much I appreciate timecode and use timecode so much for video productions, whether it's for interviews or anything multicam or just long shoots where I'm having a lot of takes. Having timecode is just so valuable because it just makes organization in post a lot easier, and it just makes things a lot easier to sync up clips and all that. I've got other videos on timecode that I encourage you to check out. And this, the PR-2, has the same timecode generator as found in like the TC1, the little timecode boxes, the TC-SL1, which is Deity Slate. The TC1 is also made by Deity, and then the Deity Theos system as well. So this integrates perfectly well in the Deity ecosystem with timecode, and timecode is just such a valuable tool to have on set and in production, and it just makes post-production so much easier. I've always said, like, your editor is gonna absolutely love you if you use timecode, and the more you can make your editor happy, or the more you can make yourself happier in post using timecode, the better. So yeah, that's reason number 1, timecode. Now the other thing has to be the Sidus Audio app. This app is super powerful, and the fact that it integrates with the PR-2 is super awesome. There's a couple great things about it. Number 1, remember I was talking about timecode. Well, if you go to like the main menu, for example, say all of these items were on, you could click sync all, and then you can click this little clock button, and that sets it to the time of day from your phone. And then if you just kind of scroll this wheel, the record wheel, over once, you'll see where the time code is. And if I click sync, you can see automatically it's synced up, and now it's saying 1402 instead of where it was saying just 00, wherever it was when it started up. Another really cool thing about the app is you can actually monitor the audio from the app, which is pretty cool. Now, it's not great quality because I don't know how they're actually doing that, but it's enough to know if you're getting any kind of weird rustling or clipping or just really bad interference or anything like that. And this actually helped tremendously well on a recent shoot. I was doing some live event coverage, and I was getting a feed from the front of house, and initially I was going to get an XLR feed from one of the outputs, and then be able to just run it straight into the XLR camera. But the problem was where the camera was located, I wasn't actually able to run the XLR cable to the camera. So what I did is I ended up using the PR-2, and I just plugged it right into the board through like a 3.5 millimeter out. And just to make sure I was getting a good enough signal, I used this little monitor feature, and it was pretty cool. Like, I was really impressed that I could do that, and it was really, honestly, it kind of, this thing kind of like saved the day, because otherwise I would not have had good audio from the event. Now, one thing that was really helpful was the fact that I could record into 32-bit float at that event, so I didn't have to really worry about, you know, loud spikes in audio or really quiet audio, because I could kind of normalize it in post. 32-bit float is super useful. Now, I obviously can't share any of that audio with you in this video, but what I can do is record the 32-bit float directly into the PR-2 with the included lav mic, and hopefully the audio is going to sound fine from a wind perspective. But I am like kind of in like a gazebo thing, so it might sound a little echoey, but it's really cool to hit record. You can either trigger it from the app, or you just hold the record button down for 3 seconds and it will start recording. And now you're hearing the WLAV Pro into the PR-2. But while you're listening to this, I figured it'd be a good time to thank the sponsor of today's video, and that is Artlist. Artlist is an amazing platform. It's got music, sound effects, footage, and now a new voiceover feature. Now, I've been using Artlist for years now, and it is my go-to recommendation for royalty-free music and stock footage and all that, because the licensing terms are super easy. I've talked about it a ton on this channel, but recently they came out with an AI voiceover feature, which is really cool, and it's been actually really helpful for my client work. Now, I know you thinking like AI voiceover, it's probably gonna sound really bad. Well, it actually sounds really good, and just recently I used it on a project that it was kind of a different use case, but it actually sped up the workflow a lot. So essentially what I did is we had a number of interviews for this bigger project that we're working on, kind of like a little documentary project. And we were missing like 3 interviews for this particular video, and we kind of knew the direction that we wanted those interviews to go, but we hadn't filmed them yet. But we have a pretty tight deadline on the edit and the deliverable after the last interview. So what I actually did is I used AI voiceover in different sections kind of as a placeholder, and I just kind of wrote this script, kind of what we thought the interview would be probably gonna say based on the conversations and pre-production that we had. And so what I did is I used the AI voiceover and just inserted it as a placeholder and use the rest of the interviews that we already had to kind of tell the story and see how everything flowed. And I sent that as a preliminary edit, rough draft, like a concept, over to who I've been working with my client, and they were so stoked to see the project kind of start to come to life before the last interview was even filmed. Obviously, we're going to replace that VO with the actual interview footage, but it was really helpful for us to use the voiceover in that way, because it's really helped us be a lot more intentional about the questions that we ask in the future interviews. And in fact, we've had 2 more interviews since I did that, and we've been able to be really intentional about the questions that we ask and make sure that the messaging is right, because we know kind of how it's going to fit into the overall storyline. So really cool way of using AI voiceover, but even still, like, the voiceover sounds really good. They were really surprised it was actually voiceover to begin with. So yeah, Artlist is an amazing platform, and just the number of products that they have on their platform, just the offerings they have, is unlike any other service out there. To be able to get music, sound effects, stock footage, voiceover, and then they even like have them templates and plugins and other things. They're just like probably the most well-rounded subscription platform out there for creatives like myself. So if you are doing YouTube or client work or whatever, definitely give Artlist a look. They have different plans for different needs. So head over to artlist.io, use the link down in the description below, and navigate to the pricing to figure out which plan works best for you. All right, the next thing I really like about the PR-2 is the size of this unit and how lightweight it is. And the really cool thing about this is it's probably like a pretty specific use case, but I have filmed on a couple of projects and actually have done sound with my buddy Griffin Conway out in California. And one thing that we like to do is to tape up the little pocket recorders under like the hood of an engine to get the engine sound, and getting 32-bit float audio is very critical to that. Obviously you need a microphone that's not going to clip, but having something lightweight like this means that it's just easy to mount up into random locations, or for like you Deity Theos users out there in the US that can't transmit and record audio at the same time, you could put this up as like the onboard recorder to, like, you know, you're gonna have 2 packs, but I can see this being really useful for getting 32-bit float lav audio for an interview while you're also transmitting from the Theos. I know it's not an ideal situation. It's kind of like this wind, but for us Theos users in the US that can't transmit and record at the same time, this thing doesn't take up a lot of space, and it actually comes with this little thing to clip onto your belt. And that's kind of a nice solution to get 32-bit float recorded audio as well as transmitting audio. So hopefully that patent will be up soon, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. But for now, Theos users, this might be a good option for you because you also have time code. All right, well, that's kind of a bummer. I was gonna film the last bit out on the dock, but the wind, although it feels really nice, it's super not ideal for audio. So I guess the last thing I'll just mention while I'm walking back home to go start editing this is the battery life on the PR-2. I think they advertise around 30 hours of battery life, which is plenty for, plenty for a wedding or an event or anything like that. Like, it's one of those things where you can just like put on the talent and just like hit record at the beginning of the day and then not have to worry about it for the entire day, because you know the battery is just gonna last all day. So super excited about this PR-2. I know it was a long time coming, but Deity decided to hold off and make it even better than they originally thought, and I think it was well worth the wait. I think it's a really great product, and I'm super stoked to have it in my kit. So yeah, hope you found this helpful, useful. I will leave links to this down in the description below, and hope you have a good one. Subscribe, all that good stuff. Peace.